Hi, this is Faith. So glad you can be here. There's something I want to talk about today. I want to share my experience and to not date or be in relationships for a while. Stay with me and I'll just share my experience. It's not the same for everyone, but if it resonates with you or helps in any way, well, I'm Faith and this is my journey. So if you've been following along with me, I've spent a lot of time talking about personal growth and healing and what it actually means to rebuild your life from ground zero. But today I want to talk about a massive decision I've made, one that felt terrifying at first, but has brought me more peace than I can possibly describe. I met a guy around the time that my sister was sick with cancer and she was passing away. We had some anger issues happening. We had several old relationships surfacing from him. And, after that relationship, I really stepped back and looked at myself and said, I'm tired of this. Something needs to change. So I decided to go ahead and take time to myself to stop dating, to choose celibacy. So I'm not giving myself, my time, my energy, my body to meaningless connections that will never be anything but leaving me hollow. I stepped off the romantic treadmill altogether to finally heal my trauma triggers and to get to know who I actually am and how to learn to love myself first. So, for a long time, I didn't realize how much of my energy was going towards seeking validation through relationships, trying to fix broken dynamics, or carrying the invisible weight of past relationships and old family traumas. When you've been through deep grief, chaotic environments, and painful breakups, your nervous system gets wired for survival. You start confusing chaos with chemistry. You find yourself tolerating things just because being alone feels scarier. And I hit a wall. I realized I was exhausted. I was trying to pour from an empty cup into situations and people that could never truly hold me. So I had to ask myself a hard question. If I took away all these distractions, all the talking stages, all the low level anxiety of modern dating, who am I? What am I actually looking for? And more importantly, why was I accepting crumbs when my soul was craving a banquet? So that's when I made a conscious decision to lock the door on dating, at least for now. I chose celibacy not as a punishment, but as a sacred container, a way of saying that my energy is expensive, my heart is precious, and I am no longer available for anything that fractures my peace. All right, so I'm going to share now and talk about the magic of reclaiming myself. This is about celibacy and solitude. You know, People hear the word celibacy or stop dating and they immediately think of loneliness. But let me tell you what it actually feels like. It feels like a breath of fresh air after being underwater for years. When you stop just giving your energy away to people who haven't even earned it, that energy floods right back to you. I started noticing it in small ways. I started pouring into myself more, romanticizing my daily routines, savoring small moments, cleaning my space, putting on music, choosing clothes that make me feel good and graceful, spending more time with myself, taking long walks, being in nature, keeping my body and my energy to myself through celibacy became my own sanctuary. It gave me a quiet space to really look at my trauma triggers straight in the eye without judgment. Instead of reacting, instead of running away or numbing, I started sitting with myself and saying, I see you. I know why you're scared, but you're safe now. I've got you. Now I want to talk about something else that I've experienced and that I've learned: staying for potential. something I was so guilty of. Part of my healing was perhaps the most important part was learning how to set real unshakable boundaries. For so much of my life, I was a professional at staying for potential. I could see great potential in so many people. I would look at someone's raw edges, their unhealed wounds, and their poor behavior, and I would fall in love with the person I knew they could be. So I would forgive and I would understand and excuse their disrespect, bad behavior, and exhaust myself trying to love someone into treating me right. I don't do that anymore. I've learned how to spot disrespect early, and more importantly, I've learned how to walk away the second I see it. I no longer excuse or negotiate bad behavior. I've learned I deserve more than that, and so do they. If someone shows me who they are through disrespect, I don't wait around hoping things change or they change. I close the door. I protect my mind, my body, my spirit, my peace, because I deserve that. Protecting my peace means refusing to rehabilitate people who aren't willing to do their own work. So now I want to share and talk about rewriting my definition of self-worth. So the hardest part of this journey wasn't stepping away from men or cutting toxic cycles. It was reprogramming the core belief that I wasn't worthy of true healthy love. So for the longest time, part of me believed that love had to be earned. Love had to be a struggle. Love was a fight. I thought I had to endure just to prove my loyalty or shrink myself down so that I'm chosen. So healing my trauma meant unlearning that entirely. It meant realizing my worth isn't attached to my past mistakes or whether someone else validates me. When you learn to love yourself fiercely, you treat your own heart like something sacred, your entire standard changes. You realize that you are deeply, undeniably worthy of a healthy, reciprocal, peaceful relationship. Not just a healthy relationship with yourself, but eventually with another person who meets you at your level, respects your boundaries, and loves you without the chaos. So if you're watching this right now and you feel burned out and tired of dating, or you're weighed down by old patterns where you're accepting less than what you know you deserve, I want to give you permission to stop. You don't have to figure it all out today. Sometimes the most revolutionary act of self-care you can take is just closing the door on what drains you, putting your favorite music on, and reclaiming your own energy. You know you're not broken. You're coming home to yourself. Thank you so much for being here with me today and listening to my heart, my story, my experience, and what I've learned. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Take care of yourselves, protect your peace, and know you're worthy of love and respect and a healthy relationship, not only with yourself, but with a special person as well. This is Faith. I love you. Bye for now.